What if the reason winter exists is a broken mother's heart? This is the story of a stolen goddess, a grieving mother, and a bargain that shaped the seasons themselves. Our story begins with Persephone, a young goddess of springtime, beloved daughter of the harvest goddess Demeter. She was gentle, curious, and utterly untouched by darkness, the very embodiment of new life and blooming flowers. She wanted nothing more than freedom, to wander the meadows, gather flowers with her nymph companions, and live forever in the warmth of her mother's protection. Her mother, Demeter, was the goddess of the harvest, powerful, devoted, and fiercely protective. Wherever Demeter walked, crops flourished and the earth bloomed, for her love for her daughter poured directly into the soil itself. But far beneath the world, Persephone knew, in a realm of shadow and silence, ruled another god entirely, Hades, lord of the underworld, and brother to Zeus, king of all the gods. Hades ruled the dead, but he ruled alone. No queen sat beside him, and no warmth ever reached the endless dark halls of his kingdom. In his solitude, a want grew in him, for a companion, for someone to share his eternal throne. And above them, both sat Zeus, king of Olympus, powerful, commanding, and Persephone's own father. Zeus loved order among the gods, but he was also known for making decisions without asking the ones they affected. One day, Hades came to Zeus with a request. He wished to take Persephone as his bride and queen of the underworld. Zeus, seeing an advantage in binding his brother's realm to his own family, quietly agreed. But there was a problem. Demeter would never allow her daughter to be given to the god of death. So Zeus, unwilling to face his sister's fury, said nothing to her at all. This secrecy meant that Persephone herself had no idea a bargain had been struck over her future. She continued her days exactly as before, carefree, joyful, and completely unaware that she was being watched. One afternoon, while gathering blossoms with her companions, Persephone noticed something strange. A flower unlike any she had ever seen, glowing faintly, growing all alone at the edge of the meadow. It was a narcissus, planted by Zeus himself as a lure, bait to draw his daughter away from her friends and toward the one place she would be vulnerable. Drawn by curiosity, Persephone wandered away from her companions, deeper and deeper toward that lone flower, until she was completely alone. The moment her fingers touched its petals, the earth itself split open beneath her feet, a chasm of darkness tearing through the sunny meadow. The earth swallowed her. From the depths, Hades rose in a chariot of black horses, seizing the terrified Persephone before she could even scream for help. In an instant, he plunged back into the earth, carrying her down to his shadowed kingdom. Her cries echoed across the meadow, but by the time her companions turned, there was nothing left but scattered flowers and a scorched patch of earth where she had stood. Far below, Persephone found herself in a world unlike anything she had ever known. Cold stone halls, rivers of shadow, and a god she barely recognized standing before her. Hades tried to explain that she would be his queen, that this kingdom would be hers too, that he meant her no true harm. But to Persephone, this was no proposal. It was a prison. Meanwhile, back on the surface, Demeter realized her daughter was missing. She searched the meadow frantically, calling Persephone's name into an empty sky that gave her no answer. For 9 days and 9 nights, Demeter wandered the earth without rest, without food, refusing to stop until she found her daughter. Her grief was so consuming that she abandoned her divine duties entirely. And because Demeter was the goddess who made the crops grow, her absence meant catastrophe. Wherever she had once brought life, the fields now began to wither and die. On the 10th night, Demeter encountered Hecate, a mysterious goddess of magic and crossroads, who had heard a scream but had not seen who took her. Hecate offered to help Demeter search for answers. Together, the two goddesses sought out Helios, the sun god who sees everything that happens beneath his light. If anyone had witnessed the abduction, it would be him. Helios finally revealed the truth. Hades had taken Persephone into the underworld, and Zeus himself had approved it. The mother who had searched so desperately now learned her own brother had betrayed her. Her own family betrayed her. Consumed by rage and grief, Demeter refused to return to Olympus. Instead, she walked among mortals in disguise, and in her sorrow she let the entire earth fall barren. Crops failed everywhere. Rivers ran dry. Livestock starved. Humanity itself stood on the edge of famine, and desperate prayers rose up to Olympus, begging the gods to intervene. Even the gods depended on mortal offerings and sacrifice, and with the earth dying, those offerings stopped completely. Zeus soon realized his silence had triggered a disaster far greater than he ever intended. Zeus finally sent word to Demeter, promising that Persephone would be returned to her, if only she would let the earth bloom again. But Demeter's answer was unshakable. She would accept nothing less than her daughter's full and permanent return. Meanwhile, deep in the underworld, something unexpected had begun to happen. Persephone, though still grieving her old life, had started speaking with Hades, cautiously, then more openly. She discovered that Hades, though lord of the dead, was not cruel. He was patient, honest, and fiercely lonely, a god feared by all, who had simply never had anyone to talk to. Slowly, something began to shift in Persephone's heart. She still longed for sunlight and meadows, but she no longer saw the underworld or its king as something to fear. Zeus, desperate to end the famine, finally sent Hermes down into the underworld with a clear order. Persephone must be brought back to her mother, no matter what. Hades knew he could not defy the king of the gods. And yet, he could not bear the thought of losing her completely, of returning to that same endless solitude. So before Persephone left, Hades offered her a single pomegranate, and she ate a few of its seeds. It seemed like a small, harmless gesture. It was anything but. In the ancient laws of the underworld, anyone who tasted its food was bound to return to it. By eating those seeds, Persephone had unknowingly tied herself to Hades' realm forever. One bite changed everything. When Persephone was finally brought back to the surface, Demeter's joy was immediate and overwhelming. Mother and daughter embraced, and for the first time in months, warmth returned to the world. But the reunion was not without a shadow. Because Persephone had eaten those pomegranate seeds, she could not stay on the surface forever. The underworld now had a claim on her, too. Zeus was forced to step in one final time, brokering a compromise between his brother, his sister, and his daughter, a solution that no one fully wanted, but that everyone could accept. Persephone would spend part of each year in the underworld as Hades' queen, and the rest of the year above ground with her mother. It was not everything either goddess wanted, but it was enough to end the famine. And so, the seasons themselves were born from this bargain. When Persephone returns to the surface each year, Demeter rejoices, and the earth bursts into spring and summer's abundance. But when the time comes for Persephone to descend once more into the underworld, Demeter's grief returns with her, and the world grows cold, the leaves fall, and winter settles over the land. And what of Persephone herself, once just a carefree girl among flowers? She became something greater, queen of the underworld, ruling beside Hades with quiet strength, no longer afraid of the dark she once fled. In the end, this ancient story was never simply about a kidnapping. It became an explanation for something every living person feels: why the world blooms and dies again and again in an endless, aching rhythm.